Got my morning coffee. It's the morning show. That's why. Instead of morning coffee, we have the morning cough. Isn't that outrageous? Okay, we're getting all of our platforms on the air. The last one to come on is Vaughn TV. Welcome, everyone. From Vaughn TV, worldwide TV platform. Come on in. We're talking today about the Manhattan shooting. I was born and raised in Manhattan, so I can talk about Manhattan. And we're going to talk about Manhattan shooter. We're going to discuss a totally different perspective than anyone else is talking about this morning. So this is a totally different perspective, and it's going to be interesting for a few. For others, it may be a little trigger for y'all. Just a warning, but you've been warned. I've been fair. Get ready for a different perspective. Okay, we're getting our chats up, so we'll be able to chat if you're on Twitch, if you're on YouTube, and if you're on Kick. Well, you can chat with me today on this topic. Come on in. Now, let me fix up this YouTube chat. One moment, and we'll be going live. We're live now, but we'll be going to video in a moment or two. Let me set up the YouTube chat, and let's see what's going on. Are we on here today? Let's see. Oh, I see. This was the one I had to go on. So let's see. We'll see what's in our studio here on YouTube. Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, still showing, for some reason YouTube still shows some a previous title, but we'll go to that in a second. We'll be changing that in any moment now. Let's give it a change here, and let's edit that. For y'all on YouTube, it's not about no delivery driver stuff that you I have to change, and like it has supposed to update the titles automatically. It doesn't do it, so I have to do it physically, I guess, and that's not going to be it there. All right, so let me grab the title off of some other of the platforms here. Let's do this one. And we're going to just take one moment, folks. Sorry about the delay, but just getting used to all of the intrinsics related to multi-platform broadcasting. And okay, we got it in there. We'll save. Very good. So that's our topic for today, July the 29th, the morning show. And we're talking about the Manhattan shooting, and particularly the Manhattan shooter, or that type of stuff, that type of situation. That's what we're going to talk about today. One more thing, I gotta set this chat room for YouTube, for our YouTubers, and get this YouTube chat going. So let me just find out, and let me just go to YouTube here directly. Give me a moment, folks, the way things are. Okay, we're heading into YouTube. And I'll just take another second and get this chat thing going. Let's go into a few commercials. Commercial break.
Number one, obviously, is safety. We definitely call 811 to find out if there are any buried lines, fiber optic, whether it be telephone or pipeline or anything. Don't take a chance. Don't think you know and say, well, I don't remember anything being put in there. Call 811 and make sure that that's identified, that there isn't something there before you make that crossing. Because in the end, we want everybody going home.
Came in from one of my viewers. They asked this. They asked, how much money, you say you're going to make a lot more money than you do in crypto and all of this. Well, how much money do I need to invest in order to make that happen for me? The answer to that is, do you have $25? That's my answer to you. Do you have $25? Because that's all you really need. If you have $25, you can control real estate, and you can build that real estate up to over $1 million of return on investment. These are the things I'm going to show you from just $25. So if you can muster $25, then you can grow rich in real estate and use the money that you get from our program, to grow rich in Bitcoin or any of the other coins for that matter of fact, even commodities. It doesn't matter, because you have something that's solid, real estate, and you're just using some of the profit and buying whatever crypto you want to do. If the crypto goes down, it's lost. No sweat, because you have the real thing. You have real estate, and that's the big difference. So that answers that question. To join this private mentor club, send $25 to paypal.me/MYCBH.
We're going to look into a different perspective. Sorry about that, Mike, as well. That no one's talking about. We're going to look at the article now, and we're going to look at a few of the, just for those people who are not aware, who can't be aware by now of what was going on. Here we're at ABC News, as you can see, and the article is what we know about Shane Devon Tamura, the suspect of the Midtown Manhattan shooting. 3 men, 1 woman were killed in Monday night's shooting. Now, one thing to be said, because a lot of people making this, again, it always happens. Somebody gets shot, it always becomes the political issue of gun control. But I also present to you that there was I think in Ohio, or was it Minnesota, some place like that, you had the Walmart stabbings. So 11 people got stabbed. Easily, someone could have died there. So let's just not say, oh, they didn't die or anything. They could have. It could have happened just as easily. 11 people got stabbed. Okay, and so it's not an issue of gun control or knife control. There isn't any knife control, is there? It's simply, if it doesn't matter. What we have are another issue. And this is what we're talking about. This is what the other perspective is, that we tend to not focus on the other issues. The other issues remain unspoken and unaddressed, therefore, because what we're focusing on, we have these massive, it's done intentionally to focus everyone's view and social engagement, and they're framing your thinking. I'm a psychotherapist, so all of this is very clear. I see it, immediately identify it as what it is. This is social framing. It's social mental framing. And so what happens is that the social media plays a role in it. They're also engaged in this activity, falsely naming it, labeling it news. But actually, what it is in actuality is social mental framing. What happened in the old days, when you provided news, when there was news, the reporters actually investigated, and they did some research, and they presented a fair perspective. But now what you have is people going the easy route. Everything's going easy. So they can't be denied. What I'm saying now cannot be denied, because simply all things are going to an easier way of looking at them, right? So even the news is defaulting to an easier view. So it isn't even a correct or non-partisan view, because it's easier to have the common view or the partisan view. This is a social media view. It's easier to take that and to run with it. It makes it easier to transmit, to convey a certain political agenda while you're providing the news. So it's not just news, but news with an agenda, news with a message, news with a perspective, news with a point, a goal in mind, of framing the mentality or the thinking framework of society. It's influencing people. It's persuading the masses. That's basically what's going on. So even when you consume news these days, you have to be very careful. You have to just take the data, what happened, and forget the little comments that are made. Because of the lack in gun law, and that's not news. That's political agenda. That's the way they're trying to brainwash you. It's political agendas and social messaging is just brainwashing, if you allow it to be. If you have your own mind, you don't you read stuff and you cut things off. You get your information and you cut the other stuff out, and that's how you remain. You remain a free thinker, right? So that's very important. So we have this killer opening fire and killing 4 people with a high-powered rifle. Okay, you can kill people with a gun. You can kill people with a knife. Again, it's just killing people. There was some guy with an axe a few years ago in New York City subway, and he killed a number of folks, right? He went slashing and hitting people with an axe. And I'm not sure he killed, but he could have axed someone in the jugular vein, and that was that, right? So we all know this. Killing can be had in many diverse manner. So we still don't know where, why this young person here. You can't, you can look at him and whatever, he's somebody's kid. He's a young person that has issues or had issues because he took his own life. And that's the way I look at it. I look at it as he's a victim. He's a victim of, of a society that, is just simply focused on gun laws and not on helping this young man before he got to this place. Now, he had medication. Now, what we know is that as far as he says in his suicide note that he had on him, if we're to believe it or not, these things are still under investigation. They will be confirmed or not. But I'm taking it for what it is as our subject matter today. I'm not trying to say, this is the way it is. I'm just saying that according to what we know already and what this person here, Shane, shared through his note in his pocket or wherever it was, as he lay there dead from his self-inflicted wound. This is, again, something that we're going to address at face value. It's obviously someone that does this is crying out, is asking for help, but didn't do it appropriately. And we know if you do anything with people who have issues, mental issues, well, why do they have mental issues? It's because they don't know how to ask for help, right? They don't know how to, get the help they need. They don't know how to stay on their medication if they're having it. And in his case, his CTE, the CTE is a brain condition that has no cure, and it gets worse over time. So it's basically, to make it simple for everyone, blah, 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 it's like having leprosy of the brain. Just like a leper, where in the Bible, the leprosy would disintegrate the limb, the fingers on your hands, or you'll be left, without any fingers to do anything with in your hand. And just like you're missing a part of your hand that normal people have to hold things and to work with and to build and to be creative and be expressive, etc., etc., and leprosy takes that away. Here we have a young man who cognitively was a leper in terms of his capacity to think, because of course, as your brain is withering away, you can't reason right. You're missing important things that you learn as a child, and maybe he went to Sunday school or maybe a Sabbath school or whatever, religious or philosophy teachings he had growing up, even watching cartoons, absorbing morals from the upbringing and from life. You lose that if you're missing parts of your brain, and your brain is getting, wasted away over time. Now, what I want to address is that there are things, and this affects all of us, there are things that we can do to fight back or hold off brain decay. Okay? So these are things that you can do on your own. I did it. I took a moment to do it And I looked up first what CTE was, you know. So there I did. I put it on your phone. Everyone has a phone. And you can do this on your own. And you can see chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Apathy. All right? Encephalopathy. Right? So that's what it is. Now, there are stages to it, which it has here. And you have stage 1 is individuals may be asymptomatic or report mild short-term memory loss and depressive symptoms, which a wide amount of people suffer from that. Mild aggression may also be present. All right, so here you go. And this is a very common symptom. A lot of people have this symptom that don't have CTE. So this is how mental issues can be, hidden and go by unaddressed and unnoticed for a long time, because it just starts out as being, a normal, memory loss. Like who doesn't forget? And who doesn't give themselves excuses? Personally, I would tell you I give myself an excuse for not remembering things on purpose. And I say that it's on purpose. And sometimes I question, is it on purpose, or is it actually that you're losing your ability to remember things? So I look at that in my own person. But I purposely choose not to remember or even listen too deeply to things that, people would say, like in their chit chat. It's not important in my estimation, so I just don't pay no mind to it. So, and then someone else says, well, you remember what I told you, last week or a month ago, or you didn't remember this a year ago or 2 years ago? And I honestly, I have to say, I don't. And it's not because I lost the memory. I don't pay attention. I don't consider it important for me as a thing to remember. So then I don't bother to remember it, right? But again, is that 100% always the truth or the reality? Or do I also use that, or will I in the future use that to cover up or to fill in for the times where it isn't, where it's actually some memory loss? So I think a lot of us do that. So this is why I say this is something that's very common for us to see and to deal with people that, maybe sometimes they don't remember a thing or two. But it's very common. And then stage 2, symptoms include more severe depressive. Now here we start getting into a clinical area where a person would eventually need to seek medical help because they're suffering from depression. Now, the clinical definition, or to be diagnosed with depression, you have to be in a depressive state for a very long time. We're talking about months here, okay? And I'm purposely not telling you 6 months or more, or a year, because it's not unnecessary information. No one here is going for a psychology degree or anything like that. But the point is that you suffer most of the year. You're in a depressed state, and you're obviously needing help. And people say you should see a counselor, you should see a psychiatrist, see what's going on. So you are depressed, that it impairs your ability to do things in life. And then also you have behavioral outbursts, which I do myself. I mean, goodness sakes. And mood swings, which a lot of people have for different reasons, right? So again, symptoms that are shared with other issues, even medical issues, health-wise, that are not of a mental, not in the mental area, but it impacts your well-being. And so some people get angry. The diabetics get angry. They can't control their anger, etc. So these are things that are not based on a mental condition, but are impacted by a person's physical health. All right, so again, you get all the way up to stage 2, very common still things, and things that have other reasons for being there, right? Stage 3, individuals experience cognitive impairment. All right, a cognitive impairment, which you can classify how many school-age children in that zone, right? Cognitive impairment such as memory loss, lack of spatial awareness, and executive dysfunction, which is difficulty with planning, organization, and problem solving. And that's like most of the people in the world. Well, you know, a lot of people have problems solving their own issues. Then they call me. They come to me, and they come to a psychotherapist. They go to a psychologist. You know, they seek help and guidance. They go to their pastors or spiritual leaders for counseling, and they're always, you know, they're having this repetitive situation that keeps coming up. Usually, when you have a repetitive situation, it indicates to you, and it doesn't have to be exactly the same situation, but the same type of situation that continually running in your life, then it suggests that you have a problem that needs some assistance. You need some outside assistance because so far you've not been able to resolve them on your own, right? And that is stage 3 of CTE. That doesn't mean you have CTE. But I'm trying to infer to you that the state of society, covers this. You know, a person with stage 3 CTE would be normal in walking down the street. This is the thing that we have to really, you know, understand this. This is a normal person walking down the street. You go, you pick one, you do a poll. You say, listen, how many days have you had depression this week, or how many times have you forgotten something? You know, how many times you know, do you have difficulty planning something? Have you had an issue with organization at your job, right, or in your business? You know, how good are you in problem solving? That's like a question on any psychological test, any employment test. It's a common thing. So most people walking around just like this guy. Man, you guys are just like this guy walking down the street. Okay, saying boom, 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 boom. Okay, I'm just joking. But the fact is that this guy can walk down the street. He's normal, and he can feel normal with everyone else. I mean, there's other nuts. He's in Manhattan. That's so full of nuts walking down the streets. He's normal, right? The only thing that's different about this person is he's not thinking straight right now. He has a twisted mission right now. His solution is twisted, and he may realize it. He did the suicide note. It means he does realize it, but he can't stop himself. It seems like the only thing he can do. Okay? And then stage 4 is symptoms worsen further. It's just all gray area. Symptoms worsen further, potentially including advanced language deficits. I have language deficits. You know, watch out with me. You see me when they are 15 walking down the street. Okay. You know, psychotic symptoms, paranoia, motor deficits, movement problems, and Parkinsonism. You know, when you're doing certain things, where you say there's some problem. And again, it could be just Parkinson's. Again, there's other things that create these types of behavior and these types of movement and stuff like that. So I also looked into what we can do to help a person. I already knew. See, when I saw this situation and I saw the news, I said, I've been on this campaign for quite a while already, and it's simply society is broke. And when I mean broke, I mean there's things that you guys need to start, doing. Allow people to do and progress yourself. Do you hear that? This is what society laughs at today. And according to AI, I'm going to give you some information. Now you're going to learn something from me. Okay. According to AI, which you can also do, this type of music can help build neuronal pathways. Neural pathways. And by building neural pathways, you are basically constructing brain space. When you have somebody, you have a condition that destroys your brain, it's destroying your brain, it's destroying your ability to think, then it's like other people do with physical exercise. They're trying to restore health. They're trying to build muscle. Well, the brain is also just like a muscle. If you give it food, if you give it thinking material, then you'll fight against any entropy that could be, breaking down your brain capacity, your ability to think and to reason. But when people hear this music, they laugh at it. When you were growing up in school, if they heard you playing this, they would have laughed you out of the classroom. And so basically, when you're growing up, how do you adopt the music? When people say, well, this is my favorite type of music, well, why is it your favorite type of music? Only because your friends played it. And your friends accepted you with that music. And they're part of the group. That's why you like the music that you listen to. Your parents may have heard. They put on the radio. They didn't put this on the radio. Now, my kids will say, well, you do that. Well, of course I do. They're lucky and blessed. But most people don't do this. Most people don't go down the street playing this music. Have you heard somebody, if you're in New York City, have you ever heard somebody going down the street, full blast in their vehicle, a blue bus maybe, school bus, playing this? That was me. Full blast. And now in Florida, if you happen to be in Florida and you hear a car going by with this music in it, guess who it is? Because I don't care what people say. I don't go around shooting people. I don't go around speeding down the highway like a madman and rushing to do what? Hey, I'm listening to music I don't care if I'm in a traffic jam. As a matter of fact, when I'm on the street, I'm hoping there's a traffic jam. Who does that? I got music to die for. I got the greatest music that I listen to. And you're going to slow me down and have me wait in the street listening to Bach? Thank you, man. Thank you. It's the greatest thing. But most people don't live this way. Most people are rushing. Oh, I gotta rush. This guy came cross country. Cross country. And, he was doing what molded him and covered him in society. He's not a person. Look what they say. Listen, look at this guy. Look what a friend of his says that he was what is he? Let's see how he describes. Let's look at the article. And you can see something here in the article. A friend of his says that he was, a friend of him, he says here, this was a competitive football player. He was competitive. Playing football, according to a school official who spoke with ABC News, Caleb Clark, a former classmate of Tamura in high school, described him as a goofball and did not recall him having any mental issues. Well, right? He was just one of the guys. He was one of you. Right? So again, he was just one of the guys. So let's look at what the AI has to say about... I'm sorry, about my hypothesis. And here we did the AI, the Microsoft Bing AI. And it says here, I asked the question, can classical music therapy, because there's a thing called music therapy, and I've greatly espoused classical music, and in particular Bach, because Bach is the height, the epitome of Baroque music. It's one of the classes is earlier than your classical period, and I think when they do their classical music studies, it's a little bit ill advised, these studies, because I haven't seen them do a Baroque music study, just Baroque music, because Baroque music, it's a style of composition which was very ornate. Ornate means many little notes here and there, counterpoint and counter melodies, etc., terrace dynamics in the music that really made the music rich. It's so rich that many people don't get it. It makes people sleepy. Now, why do you fall asleep? Right? Because your brain gets tired. Well, why does your brain get tired? Because it's thinking a lot. When classical music and Baroque music, though, you see, especially when the Baroque music is being played, your brain it really makes your brain tired. It tires your brain. unless you're an avid listener like I am. Your brain gets tired quickly because it has to work. Your brain, your ears pick up every sound, and every sound, your brain, and every stimuli, your brain is it's like knitting a blanket or a shawl. Now, and that's regular life. Eyes, what your eyes see, what your ears hear, what your nose smells. So all of that is, your brain is working. Hey, mom's cooking dinner again. She's making meatloaf, my favorite. Your brain is gathering all this data and is connecting, neurons and all that, and putting things together. And that's just normal life. And now you bring in this Baroque music. My goodness, that's you got that thing. You gotta hear it. Hear it again, and it's like when your computer starts getting overworked, right? Your brain starts getting overworked. And it has to do all this work. Just like you hear the notes. See? Just busy. Right? Very busy. And this piece is even more. But this is what we're talking about here. Your brain is getting taxed, you get busy, it gets sleepy, you start feeling tired, and that's really just the effect of your brain overworking in terms of your capacity. But as your brain is doing this work, it's building more brain, you see, in order to handle it. If you don't expose yourself to brain building activity, stimulus, then your brain doesn't get stimulated. And it's detrimental, especially if you have a condition that is, reducing your capacity for understanding, reducing your brain capacity. So, like when you feel hungry, you have to feed yourself, right? You're feeling hungry, you feed yourself, right? So these are things that you need to do to feed your brain. I'll do many different shows at different times talking about music and why Baroque and why Bach. But right now, understand, listen, if you're raising children, you need to expose them to this, because leaving them just regular, and then on top of that, something happens to them where they get a detrimental type of brain condition. It's just there's no hope there. There is no hope in this case. And we have a society where a lot of people discourage and disparage quality music for cultural reasons, which I disagree. Culture is not stupid. I don't believe any culture is stupid. So I don't believe that stupid should be inculcated or culturalized into any person. So I think that has to be separate. Music is a brain thing. It's not. It shouldn't just be cultural. And I understand that. Yeah, these are cultural things. They're cultural because certain peoples at certain times, certain places, had this as their music. That's fine. Okay. So, but again, just because at one time, if you believe in evolution, we were monkeys, doesn't mean we should be doing monkey stuff right now. Right? You don't do that. You want to go running outside naked and climb up a banana tree and eat bananas all day. I think we would call that a mental situation as well. So I don't think that's the way we do it. So I think this issue with cultural music has a lot of people stuck. It's an excuse to stay dumb, stay weak, instead of absorbing and letting your brain feed on quality food. Right? So we're not going to make potato chips cultural. Oh, this is our culture. We eat potato chips, snack food, fatty food, right? Right? We're not going to make that into a cultural thing. It's a decision. It's a quality of food. And I think we can all agree that it shouldn't be taken at all. It should be taken very minimal, if at all. Okay? But can you imagine a culture calling that part of its food? This is a cultural food. You know, it's sad. And then we have people just, oh, because this is my culture. That's what they're doing with the music. Okay? But there's always going to be high quality music. And it, according to the AI, and again, I invite you to do your own AI search, right, to what it says. It's going to tell you, this is talking about classical music. It says, again, classical is not Baroque. It's a difference. Baroque is older and more ornate. Okay, so that's for you to understand, right? What I'm talking about is an older music, and it's more ornate than what is referred to, commonly regarded as classical music. But let's just see what it says for classical music. Classical music therapy is a fascinating area of study, especially when it comes to neurodegenerative conditions like chronic traumatic encephalopathy, CTE. While there's no definitive cure for CTE, music therapy, particularly classical music, because I don't know if they did any Baroque music investigation, has shown promise in supporting brain health and emotional well-being. So here's what we know so far. Potential benefits of classical music therapy for CTE. What this boy here was suffering from. Right there. Okay. It gives you cognitive stimulation. Classical music can activate multiple areas of the brain, potentially helping maintain cognitive function in early stages of CTE. Right? And remember that we're talking here about classical music, but I'm recommending Baroque and Bach in particular. But there's a lot of other Baroque pieces. Bach, you guys will more comprehend more than the other ones, because the other ones are very more ancient. They're ancient sounding, right? But they all will build up your brain. And also, if you find Bach a little too heavy for you, then going to more ancient pieces of music will help prepare your brain for Bach. Okay, so basically it's like education. Maybe Bach is, yes, it's college, it's university, doctoral level music for your brain. You want to start at a more lower level, so you can go to the ancient music. Because even with the ancient music, it's still more than your modern day music. Modern day music, some of this popular music out there now, ancient music is more cognitive, more of a cognitive benefit to you than a lot of the modern day popular music is today. So basically, you're not giving, modern day music like potato chips, it's like snack food. The ancient music is actually quality a meal, right? And if you go to the ancients of, it's baby food, but it is better nutrient-wise than potato chips. So that's basically the way it is. It's the way it is, folks. So understand that. Now, in addition to cognitive stimulation, you also have emotional regulation. Was this guy pissed off? Music therapy may reduce anxiety, depression, and irritability, common symptoms of CTE, by promoting relaxation and emotional expression. Okay, so that's what music, and a lot of you say, oh, that's what my popular music does. I can relax with it. It helps me to relax. And yes, it does. It'll do that. But again, we're talking about more. And he and other people in the world need more. Y'all need more. So this is what I'm talking about. That you'll need more. And at one time or another, you'll need more. Because it's sad that you live all your life, right? And you listen to your popular music all your life. You enjoy, you relax. Okay, then you start getting old. And as you age, you start having difficulties. Well, but all you have throughout all your life is popular music. So as a precautionary step, you should start adapting to something more sophisticated. And don't think the word sophisticated means elitist or, fancy. Soph is wisdom. So more wise, more intelligent, that's all. More nutrient rich. So you want to give your brain something more. So begin to give your brain something more, folks, young people out there. Give your brain something more than just your popular artists. Hell with what your friends think. Forget that. Okay, because they'll lose their minds and you will too, because you're trying to keep up with them. Don't keep up with them. Be your own person and be smart. You think you're smart? Well, be smart. Do something smarter than everyone else. Listen to smarter music, and that'll do you a world of good. Okay, and so it will regulate your emotions. And memory support. Familiar classical pieces can trigger autobiographical memories, which may help preserve a sense of identity and orientation when you start losing that stuff, right? So yeah, I can tell you that. There's a lot of milestones that I remember clearly associated with my music listening. So that is a fact. So there's no way that your brain did all this work and it's not going to remember something related to when you were doing that. Right? To this day, I always remember the time I beat the computer at chess. Never forget that moment. And it came after a few months of preparing. I was editing a book, not mine, but someone else's book. And all I would play hours and hours every single day for months while I was completing that project was Bach and Baroque music. And I did listen to the more ancient pieces at that time, right? And for relaxation, a break from my from the book editing, I would go and play chess with the computer. Oh, that computer always beat my butt. That computer would always beat my butt until after this about 6 months or so, and I'm finishing up with this book, and I go and relax with the chess again, and I beat that computer good. All right. So yeah, I can't say it was just the music, right? Because I was editing a book and fixing it all up and doing the thought process, but I wasn't writing the book. So there's an argument to say it was the music listening, because that's the thing that my brain would be working on and blah blah blah, and the reading and the rewriting and stuff like that was just part of it, right? It was part of my brain being active. Right? It was part of somebody's job, really, any day-to-day job. So the mix of the two, then, to be fair, to be transparent, we weren't scientific with it, but the mix of the two, to be fair, produced a winner chess against the computer, a winner that wasn't able to beat the computer before. So that's pretty. And there was no reading chess books. I wasn't doing any type of analysis or anything. I would just play straight through play. So we know that the computer didn't have a mental breakdown. So all we know that there was much more. I was a much stronger player after this period of basically of enclosure with just the book editing project and the music, the classical Baroque and ancient music, just that being my brain being exposed to day after day after day after day after day. Again, these are hours a day I spent, right? So don't think you're just going to have listening to it every once in a while that you're going to see a major impact. No. It takes a long time. You've been living, how many years have you been living? And every day your brain has been doing what you have. So, yeah, it's going to take hours and hours. You just have to fill your life with this brain nutrition in order for you to gain the benefits down the road. So for a lot of you, this thing can help prevent or put off future mental degradation, future memory loss, future Alzheimer's, future depression, the development of other issues later down the road. This can help you prevent that, offset that. And that's what we're talking about here. Now, if you begin a child off early in life, and for the good fortune they have of adopting it as their favorite thing, their favorite music to hear, forget what their friends think, then you're going to have an intelligent child. You're going to have a child that is strong, resilient against depression and against mental degradation, because even if these things occur due to other health issues or other events in life, at least they'll have a better chance, they'll be stronger to resolve or to delay, slow any future degradation from other sources that can impact their lives, impact their brains. So I think it's a great thing to give your children and give yourself. Okay, we have a lot of people. I've counseled many people. They have problems, but they never listen to Bach. They don't listen to Bach. And I dare to say, if people in a Lutheran church that don't listen to Bach, how can you do that? It is a gift. And here we are seeing, we're being able to understand that it is something that can help you. Why don't you do that? It's free. Bach's music is free, right? It's 268 years ago that Bach lived and wrote his music. That's public domain music right now. At a time where our society needs it the most. So instead of gun laws, why don't we have, music listening and emphasize it? Stop the BS laughing at someone who listens to Bach. I want to hear more Bach being played down on the street. Blast that thing. Why are we letting this type of music that doesn't help? Doesn't help. Even the writers of it kill themselves or kill each other. It's ridiculous. Now, how's that going to help you? You have these popular singers singing these popular songs that die of overdoses. Oh, why isn't their song helping them cope with life? And that's your favorite song, and the guy died of an overdose? What are you thinking, man? It's just hilarious. I see these things all the time. I've heard it all my life. You're listening to music of somebody who killed himself with drugs, overdose with drugs. That's what you're doing. And so, and you wonder why your life is a mess, and you wonder why you can't solve your problems, and you wonder why the world is the way it is. It isn't because of Bach. Tell you that much. Memory support. Familiar classical pieces can trigger, I already said that. Now, neuroplasticity. Some studies suggest that music can encourage the brain to form new neural connections, which might slow cognitive decline. Now, if music helps develop connections, how about ornate, Baroque music like Bach is very ornate. And I'm coming from a point of view. I compose music. It's not. You see, I'm not just a listener. I actually write the notes down, and I do orchestral. The orchestration, and the libretti, and the notation, and you can have 10, 20 layers of notation. That's complexity there. That's very complex. And to think that your brain is weaving all of this on the fly. That's why people get tired and sleepy when they hear this music. They call it elevator music. It's an elevator music. Oh, man. Okay, now... music, and it tells you here what it can't do. And this is important that you guys understand, so you understand what we're talking about. We're not talking about repairing damage. It can't do that. Music therapy cannot reverse the physical brain damage caused by repeated trauma. But if you look in the literature, you will find a child. There was a child that had brain tumors, and they had to remove half his brain. Half. And of course, since he was a child, his brain was able to adapt and to use the rest of the brain, the remaining part, and function rather normally. And the fact is that most people do not use their brain potentials at all. Your brain it has a lot of emptiness in it, a lot of empty space that people throughout life never use. So that if you lost half your brain, your brain can still rewire itself and function. Because basically, you'll be just like anyone else. Half a brain empty is just like having half a brain, period. And that's normal society. And I'm being gratuitous in saying half a brain, okay? All right. And so... also, it's not a standalone treatment. It works best as part of a multidisciplinary approach, including medical care, counseling, and lifestyle adjustments. And that is absolutely, even I would concede that while I was doing the Baroque infusion, if you will, during those essentially was 6 to 8 months of focused book editing, that I was doing an intellectual process, an engagement in the book editing, okay? So, the two together. Music and intellectual engagement. So, basically a lifestyle change, as it says. So, again, that information from artificial intelligence on the topic of classical music. Like I said, I haven't seen. I will do that next. Any studies of Baroque music in particular, because I think that if it hasn't been done, it should be, because that is more ornate, and there's a whole enchilada of ancient music, which is pre-Bach, which is the building up to Bach, what Bach learned, what Bach listened to, and learned, and to build his own repertoire of musical expression, what he learned, which would help anyone to develop an appreciation and develop their brain capacity to be able to enjoy Bach as much as I do. And I think that's a different perspective on this issue. It pops up all over the country. The country's having different social ills, different social problems. But a lot of it is based on a weak cognitive ability. And that weak cognitive ability is fostered by a lack of quality music and lack of intellectual pursuit, which includes a lot of things like too much TV. Too much TV. TV shuts down the brain. Too much phone, social media, social, this and that, like LOL. You see, it's just, you don't need no brain power for that. LOL. People don't even know how to spell, but they got the LOL, right? So it's like reducing the brain capacity. Everything you're doing, even though it appears to be modern, it is modern, but modern means stupid too. It doesn't. The only ones who are technologically advanced are the ones who made the phone, because you're an idiot. I don't mean to offend everyone here, just those who are. It'll wake you up, man. You're there, you can't live unless you're everything is everything. Hours a day. Then you have the audacity to go to bed with this. And then you have the audacity, the double audacity or the triple audacity to say, I can't sleep. Somebody hit me up. You can't sleep because you got this. You got this in bed. Go get some warm milk, read a book, and you'll see how fast you can go to sleep. See, but when it comes to, or listen to Bach, because when it comes to intellectual activity, you stay away from it like raid. It's poison, it's toxic to you. This thing can help you. You got to stop, people have to stop following other dummies in the world and, listen to some sound advice. Change. Make a change. Stop engaging BS. Turn the phone off. Turn it off. Get off of your social media garbage. Stop listening to the garbage music you're listening to now. If it didn't help the artist or people in that genre to live a long and happy life, shut it down. Because you can't get more brain dead than that. Look at what's happening. You can't get more brain dead than that. And that's it. Face it. You may not like it. You're triggered. You're angry at me. You're in denial. And help your children. It helps the world, the society, be better and be a better place. That's it, man. Play Bach. You can find it. You have no reason not to. He's all over YouTube. You put YouTube, put Bach, put the Bach cantatas, and enjoy life, man. Enjoy life. Listen to some quality music. And then do just a little research. If that's like too hard for you to get into, do some research into pre-Bach music, ancient music, and you'll get things like Corelli, Telemann, okay. You'll get some others. It's been a long time since I've even listened to them. But, you'll get into some of the other music masters of their time, more ancient, more prior to Bach. Scarlatti, right? I don't know if you think he was before or contemporary or what. But in any case, you get into the older, even Vivaldi music is a blast. Arcangelo Vivaldi, wonderful stuff. I mean, and you've heard it. You've heard it in certain commercials, right? Dun 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 dun. Dun. Your Four Seasons you've heard. Wonderful, dramatic music. But all of these things will help you start developing your musical ear. And then you get to that final. For me, the final destination is Bach. Absolutely, for cognitive development. Right. The later stuff is fancy. It's fanciful. Mozart is one of the fanciful. He plays with the music, right? Bach was building with the music. So that it shows you what the difference is. Bach was building with the music. Mozart was playing with the music. Good. It's high quality, just as high quality. It's so masterful that you start playing with it, right? There's things Bach did that were playful, but he was more masterful and more more technical. And Mozart was just, listen, this is easy for me, okay? So Mozart was a brain, absolutely. And so he tended to play with it. And so he did. He did great masterpieces, playing through it all the while. Wonderful thing. And you can see, if you read and their stories are great. If you read the history, their biographies, you have Mozart as a little child. He's already playing the violin. His father, Papa Mozart, was already, he was a composer, and teaching him how to play music, and then become a composer himself. And he became great. All right. So anyway, this is my advice to you all. This issue is not about gun control. It's not about knife control, which y'all don't talk about. This issue is that society as a whole needs to get a life. And we need to start helping people develop instead of pushing people down and keeping them down. Too much criticism of things that are good. What is good we call evil. And what is evil we call good. And the Bible says that. It's a bad thing. It's a bad state of affairs. And the only ones that suffer is society. Our society suffers. And that's why we have this situation. And it's not the first, and it won't be the last. It's just simply something that we need to start helping everyone deal with, and try to make it better, make a better society by promoting the good things and not promoting the bad stuff. It's as simple as that. A little less on the video game, guys. Do some music. Learn an instrument. Learn some music. And if you don't know how to play an instrument, or you have some issue that you can't keep a rhythm, you know what? Then listen to others who can keep a rhythm. And I recommend the ancient music to get started with. I mean, you can find all your good music in it. If you listen carefully, you have Beethoven. Even if you listen to rap, so let's go there. If you listen to rap, right, you got that beat, boom, 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 right? You can find that in Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. Beethoven, let me tell you, Beethoven has a piece, a part in his music that is just like rap music. So you have, see, you wouldn't know that because you don't listen to music. Then you go to Telemann, for example, and you hear rock and roll, man. Rock and roll. We're talking about ancient music here. And you can hear rock and roll there. Wonderful. And there's a lot of little things like that here and there. But that's it for me today. Make a better society, raise the standard of music in our lives, expose yourself to intellectual pursuits, and turn down a little bit more the TV, turn it off, start being productive. Don't just play on your computers all day or your phones. Gaming, come on your phone? Create stuff. Create games. Matter of fact, you keep watching me, I'm going to show you, I have a program to help people start creating their own games. Be creative. Instead of playing games, create your own. And that's the way we need to proceed in this society. I give that to you before I even leave from this earth. Just a friendly piece of advice. Take care, and until next we meet. Thanks for watching. Come back again.